Every evening, Harper, Anna's faithful golden retriever, would return home, her tail wagging like a metronome, bursting with energy, ready to relax. But one crisp autumn evening, Harper brought someone else along, a stray puppy that looked strikingly identical to her. Anna stood frozen, her heart pounding in disbelief. What Harper had discovered would change everything. The golden light of sunset bathed the quiet suburban street where Anna lived with her golden retriever. Harper and Anna, a freelance artist in her early 30s, had moved to this peaceful neighborhood a year ago, leaving behind the chaos of the city. Her life had found a rhythm in this serene setting, centered around her cozy home and the loyal Harper, whom she had adopted from a shelter 2 years prior. That evening, Anna sat on her porch, sketchbook in hand, sipping chamomile tea while the crisp breeze rustled the leaves. Harper had gone on her usual evening outing, a habit the dog had developed, wandering to the nearby park before returning home, just in time for dinner. Anna glanced at the clock. "Harper's running late," she murmured, rising to call her. As she opened the door, the familiar sound of paws on gravel reached her ears. A smile tugged at her lips until she saw it. Harper wasn't alone. Right behind her trotted a smaller, scruffier version of herself. The stray's fur was golden, like Harper's, but matted and a bit unruly. Its eyes, wide and curious, reflected Harper's in a way that made Anna's breath catch. Crouching down, her heart raced. "Harper, who's this?" she whispered, switching her gaze between her dog and the newcomer. Harper's tail wagged furiously, circling the stray like she was introducing an old friend. The stray stepped forward, hesitant but trusting. Anna extended a hand, and the puppy sniffed it warily before giving it a tentative lick. "You're not just some random stray, are you?" Anna murmured, her gaze fixed on the pup's striking resemblance to Harper. She noticed it had no collar and appeared slightly underfed. Sympathy, mixed with an overwhelming curiosity, stirred in her chest. "Where did you find this little one, Harper?" Anna asked, but the dog only barked once in response, as if to offer an explanation. Leading both dogs inside, a strange sense of unease settled over Anna. This was no ordinary coincidence. There was something about this stray, a story it seemed to carry, waiting to be discovered. Anna led the two dogs into the living room, the space glowing warmly from a table lamp. She grabbed a bowl, filled it with water, and placed it in front of the stray. Harper, ever the hostess, nudged it closer to the new arrival with her nose, wagging her tail as if encouraging the pup to drink. As the stray lapped at the water hungrily, Anna knelt beside it, her fingers brushing through its fur. It was rough and tangled, but beneath the mess, she could feel the softness of a healthy coat. "Poor thing," she whispered. "Where have you been all this time?" Her artist's eye caught the details. The stray's golden fur, its expressive almond-shaped eyes, and even a patch of white fur on its chest. The resemblance to Harper was uncanny, almost eerie. Harper sat protectively beside the stray, her body language saying, "This is family." Anna grabbed her phone and snapped a few pictures of the two dogs side by side, intending to share them on a local lost and found pet group. But as she studied the images, doubt crept in. This stray didn't look like a lost pet. Its cautious behavior and matted fur suggested it had been alone for some time. And yet, the connection between it and Harper felt deeper, almost intentional. That night, as the two dogs curled up on Harper's bed in the corner of the living room, Anna stayed up late, researching. She scrolled through online forums, searching for any possible explanation for how two dogs could look so alike. Her search history quickly filled with phrases like, dog siblings reunited, and how to tell if dogs are related. One article caught her eye: Reunited Strays, Stories of Sibling Dogs Finding Each Other. The article shared touching stories of dogs from the same litter crossing paths after years apart, drawn to each other by some inexplicable instinct. Anna's heart skipped a beat. Could it be? Could Harper and the stray be siblings? The next morning, she decided to investigate further. She called the shelter where she had adopted Harper. "Hi, this is Anna. I adopted a golden retriever named Harper from your shelter about 2 years ago," she began. "I was wondering if you have any information about her background, specifically if she had any siblings." Lisa, the woman on the other end of the line, was friendly, but hesitant. "We don't always have detailed records, especially for dogs from overcrowded shelters or those rescued off the streets," Lisa explained. "But let me check our files to see if anything stands out." Anna paced the room, her heart pounding as Harper and the stray watched her, their heads tilted in unison. After what seemed like an eternity, Lisa returned to the phone. "Okay, here's what I found," she said. "Harper came to us as part of a rescue from an abandoned property. There were several dogs, including a litter of puppies. We managed to save most of them, but there were a few we couldn't account for. It's possible Harper had siblings we didn't rescue." Anna's breath caught. "So, it's possible this stray could be related to Harper?" Lisa hesitated. "It's not impossible," she said carefully. "But without DNA testing, there's no way to confirm it." Anna hung up the phone, her mind racing. She looked over at the two dogs, now tugging at one of Harper's old chew toys. "What do you think, Harper?" she said aloud. "Is this your long-lost sibling?" Harper barked in response, and the stray joined in as if answering her excitement. Anna laughed, the sound releasing the tension that had been building in her chest. Determined to find the truth, Anna decided to take the next step. She booked an appointment at the local vet for the stray. "If we're going to figure this out, we need to make sure you're healthy first," she told the puppy, scratching behind its ears. The stray leaned into her touch, eyes closing in contentment. The vet visit was simple, but revealing. "The stray is in good health overall," Dr. Martinez said after examining the pup. "She's a female, about 2 years old, just like Harper. She's a bit underweight, but a good diet will fix that." Anna mentioned the possible sibling connection, and Dr. Martinez nodded thoughtfully. "It's worth looking into," she said. "We can do a DNA test if you'd like. It won't be cheap, but it'll give you a definitive answer." Anna didn't hesitate. "Let's do it," she said, her determination unwavering as the vet swabbed the stray's cheek. A mix of anticipation and apprehension filled Anna's chest. What if the test confirmed her suspicions? What would it mean for her and Harper? And if it didn't, could she still keep the stray? That evening, as they waited for the DNA results, Anna began to notice subtle but undeniable connections between the two dogs. They mirrored each other's movements, from the way they tilted their heads to how they wagged their tails in perfect synchrony. They played together as if they had known each other forever, with Harper often letting the stray win their tug-of-war games. Sitting on the couch, Anna watched the two dogs with a mixture of awe and hope. "Whatever the results say," she whispered to herself, "this little one belongs here. She's already part of our family." A week later, Anna received a call from Dr. Martinez. The DNA test results were in. Her hands trembled as she answered, Harper and the stray resting side by side at her feet. "Hi, Anna," Dr. Martinez began. "I've got the results for you." Anna's heart raced. Dr. Martinez paused, her voice warm yet cautious. "The two dogs are a genetic match. They're siblings." The words hit Anna like a tidal wave. She glanced down at the two dogs, now playfully nudging each other on the rug. "Are they sisters?" Anna whispered, her voice full of wonder. Yes, Dr. Martinez confirmed. They likely come from the same litter. Anna thanked the vet and hung up, her mind swirling with a blend of disbelief and amazement. On one hand, the revelation was incredible. Harper had found her sister, but on the other, it raised so many questions. Where had the stray been all this time? How had she survived? And why had she returned now? That evening, Anna decided to share their story on social media. She posted a photo of Harper and the stray side by side, their faces so alike, with a heartfelt caption. 2 years ago, I adopted Harper, a golden retriever mix from a local shelter. Last week, she brought home this stray, who looks just like her. DNA testing confirmed they're sisters. I'm overwhelmed with gratitude that these two found their way back to each other. If anyone has any information about the stray's past, please reach out. Let's piece together her story. The post quickly went viral, racking up hundreds of comments and shares. People were captivated by the story of the reunited sisters, offering theories, encouragement, and support. Some shared similar stories of pets finding their long-lost family members, while others simply admired the bond between Harper and the stray. A few days later, Anna received a message from a woman named Lisa, who claimed to recognize the stray. I think I might know this dog, the message read. She used to roam near an old farm outside of town. My family and I fed her when we could, but we could never catch her. We called her Goldie because of her beautiful coat. Anna's pulse quickened as she read the message. Could this be the breakthrough she was looking for? She quickly responded, arranging to meet Lisa at the farm to learn more. The next morning, Anna packed Harper and the stray, now officially named Goldie, into her car and drove out to the address Lisa had provided. The farm was tucked away down a quiet road, its weathered barns and open fields bathed in the golden light of morning. As they pulled into the driveway, Lisa appeared to greet them, her kind eyes lighting up at the sight of the dogs. "So, this is Goldie," Lisa said softly, kneeling to greet the stray. Goldie approached her cautiously, her tail wagging slowly. "I haven't seen her in months," Lisa continued. "She used to come around here often, scavenging for food." Anna listened closely as Lisa shared more about the stray's visits. "We always wondered where she came from," Lisa added. "She was skittish but sweet, like she was used to being around people before." "Do you think she lived on the farm?" Anna asked, her gaze sweeping over the property. Lisa shook her head. "No, the farm's been abandoned for years. But maybe she was born nearby. Perhaps she stuck around because it felt familiar." Intrigued, Anna decided to explore the area with Harper and Goldie. They wandered through the fields, the dogs sniffing eagerly at every bush and patch of grass. As they neared one of the old barns, Goldie suddenly froze, her ears perking up. "What is it, girl?" Anna asked, following the stray's gaze. Goldie darted toward the barn, barking excitedly. Harper followed close behind. The two dogs disappeared through a gap in the barn's weathered wood. Anna hurried after them, her heart pounding. Inside, the dim light was filled with the scent of hay and damp wood. Goldie and Harper circled a pile of old blankets in the corner, barking and wagging their tails. Anna approached cautiously, her breath catching when she noticed a faint carving on the wall above the blankets. "Goldie's Litter, 2019. The words were etched deeply into the wood, weathered but legible. Anna's fingers traced the carving, a chill running down her spine. This was a clue, perhaps left by someone who had cared for the puppies before the farm was abandoned. Lisa entered the barn moments later, her face a mix of curiosity and surprise. "I've never noticed that before," she said, leaning in to examine the carving. "Whoever left it must have cared about those puppies." The discovery raised more questions than answers, but Anna felt a sense of closure. She now knew that Goldie and Harper's beginnings were tied to this place. As they left the barn, the golden light of the afternoon washed over them, and Anna took a deep breath. She felt a renewed sense of purpose, not just to give Goldie a safe and loving home, but to honor the journey that had brought these two sisters back together. That evening, back at home, Anna placed the photo of Harper and Goldie beside her computer. She began to write a journal entry, her thoughts flowing freely as she reflected on the twists and turns that had brought them here. "Sometimes life has a way of leading us back to the ones we're meant to find," she wrote. Harper found Goldie not by chance, but because their bond was stronger than time or distance. And in bringing her sister home, Harper has shown me the true meaning of family. Back at home, the dynamic between Harper and Goldie began to evolve. While they had been inseparable at first, their personalities started to show subtle differences. Harper was energetic and outgoing, always eager to greet visitors or play fetch in the yard. Goldie, on the other hand, remained cautious and reserved, often retreating to her favorite corner when she felt overwhelmed. Anna watched them interact, marveling at their connection, but also feeling a twinge of concern for Goldie. It was clear that Goldie had endured a difficult life. Though she had found safety in Anna's home, her past had left its mark, both visible and invisible. One morning, as Anna prepared breakfast, she noticed Goldie pacing near the back door. Her tail was low, and her movements were restless. "Do you want to go outside?" Anna asked, opening the door to let her out. Harper darted past her, eager to explore the yard, but Goldie hesitated, sniffing the air cautiously before stepping onto the grass. Anna followed, watching as Goldie wandered to the far corner of the yard. She seemed drawn to the boundary fence, her nose pressed to the ground as if searching for something. Harper bounded over, barking playfully, but Goldie didn't respond. She stood there, her body tense, her gaze fixed on something far beyond the fence. Later that day, Anna decided to reach out to Dr. Martinez for advice. "Goldie seems unsettled," she explained during a phone call. "She's eating and sleeping well, but there's something about her behavior that feels off. It's like she's still searching for something." Dr. Martinez listened thoughtfully before replying. "It's not uncommon for dogs with traumatic pasts to take time to adjust. Goldie might still be processing her new environment or trying to reconcile it with her memories. Have you thought about working with a behaviorist to help her settle in?" Anna nodded, making a note to look into it. "I just want her to feel safe and loved," she said softly. "And she will," Dr. Martinez reassured her. "You've already given her a second chance at life. With patience, she'll learn to trust and feel at home." Over the next few weeks, Anna focused on creating a routine that would help both dogs feel secure. She scheduled regular walks, playtime, and quiet moments where she would sit with Goldie, gently brushing her fur or simply offering her presence. Slowly, Goldie began to relax. She followed Harper's lead during walks, her tail wagging more often, and even started joining in their games of fetch. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Anna noticed something extraordinary. Goldie and Harper were lying side by side in the living room, their bodies curled together in a perfect mirror image. Harper nudged Goldie gently with her nose, and for the first time, Goldie playfully batted back. It was a small gesture, but it filled Anna with a deep sense of hope. Despite these signs of progress, there were still moments when Goldie's past cast a long shadow. Thunderstorms, in particular, seemed to trigger a deep anxiety in her. One night, as a storm rolled in, Anna found Goldie trembling under the dining table, her ears pinned back, and her eyes wide with fear. "It's okay, Goldie," Anna said softly, crouching down to her level. She reached out a hand, allowing Goldie to sniff it before gently stroking her head. Harper patted over and lay down beside her sister, resting her chin on Goldie's back. The sight brought tears to Anna's eyes. Even in her fear, Goldie wasn't alone. She had Harper, a sister who seemed to understand her pain in a way no one else could. Determined to help Goldie overcome her fears, Anna began researching ways to build her confidence. She introduced calming techniques like playing soft music during storms and using a weighted blanket to help Goldie feel secure. She also reached out to a local trainer who specialized in working with rescue dogs. The trainer, a compassionate woman named Elena, visited the house to assess Goldie. "She's come a long way already," Elena observed, watching as Goldie cautiously approached her. "The bond she has with Harper is incredible. We can use that to help her feel more confident." Together, Anna and Elena developed a training plan that focused on positive reinforcement and gradual exposure to Goldie's triggers. Harper was included in the sessions, her playful energy serving as a source of encouragement for her sister. One breakthrough moment came during a trip to the local park. It was a sunny afternoon, and the park was bustling with families, joggers, and other dogs. Harper, as usual, bounded ahead, eager to explore. Goldie stayed close to Anna at first, her steps hesitant. "Take it slow," Elena advised, walking alongside them. "Let her set the pace." Anna nodded, giving Goldie all the time she needed. Slowly but surely, the stray began to relax. She sniffed the grass, watched the other dogs from a safe distance, and even wagged her tail when a friendly Labrador approached. By the end of the outing, Goldie was trotting alongside Harper, her ears perked and her demeanor calm. Anna couldn't help but smile, her heart swelling with pride. Back at home that evening, Anna reflected on the progress they had made. Goldie still had a long road ahead of her, but she was no longer the timid stray who had arrived on their doorstep. She was now a beloved member of the family, and together they were building a life filled with love and trust. As Anna prepared for bed, she noticed Harper and Goldie curled up together once again, their breathing synchronized. It was a sight that filled her with gratitude, a quiet reminder of the power of family in all its forms. As Goldie continued to adapt to her new life, Anna began to notice subtle but persistent challenges that hinted at the complexity of Goldie's past. One particular morning, while walking Harper and Goldie along a quiet neighborhood trail, a jogger wearing a bright orange jacket approached. Goldie froze in her tracks, her body stiff, and let out a low, guttural growl. It was the first time Anna had seen her act this way. "Easy, Goldie," Anna said gently, kneeling beside her. She stroked Goldie's fur, trying to soothe her, but the dog's gaze remained fixed on the jogger until he was well out of sight. Later that day, Anna recounted the incident to Elena, the trainer. "It was so unlike her," Anna explained. "She's usually so calm, but something about that jogger, maybe the bright jacket, seemed to set her off." Elena nodded thoughtfully. It's not uncommon for rescue dogs to have triggers tied to past traumas. The color, the motion, or even the scent of someone could remind her of a negative experience. It's important to observe these moments and work on desensitizing her. Anna felt a pang of sympathy for Goldie. The idea that her sweet dog might still be haunted by her past broke her heart. She was more determined than ever to help Goldie overcome these fears, no matter how long it took. Meanwhile, Harper began exhibiting her own changes in behavior. She was no longer the only dog in the house, and though she clearly adored her new sister, Anna noticed moments of jealousy creeping in. When Anna gave Goldie extra attention during training or comforted her during storms, Harper would sometimes nudge her way in between them, demanding her own share of affection. Anna realized she needed to ensure both dogs felt equally loved. She began dedicating special time to Harper, taking her on solo walks and playing their favorite games together. It was a delicate balance, but Anna was determined to maintain harmony in her little family. One evening, as Anna sat on the couch with Harper and Goldie curled up on either side of her, she received an unexpected phone call. It was from a woman named Lisa, who introduced herself as a volunteer at the shelter where Goldie had been found. "I just wanted to check in and see how Goldie is doing," Lisa said warmly. "She's such a special dog, and we were all rooting for her to find a good home." Anna smiled, her heart swelling with gratitude. "She's doing great. It's been an adjustment, but she's made so much progress. I can't imagine life without her." "That's wonderful to hear," Lisa replied. "Goldie's story touched all of us at the shelter. You know, she was found near an abandoned construction site, protecting a small litter of puppies." Anna's breath caught. "Puppies?" she echoed, her mind racing. "Yes," Lisa confirmed. "Unfortunately, when she was brought in, the puppies were nowhere to be found. It's possible they were taken or wandered off before we arrived. Goldie was so protective. It was clear she had been caring for them." The revelation shed new light on Goldie's behavior, and Anna couldn't help but wonder if Goldie's cautious demeanor and lingering anxiety stemmed from the loss of her pups. The bond between a mother and her young was unbreakable, and Anna felt a renewed sense of responsibility to provide Goldie with the love and security she had lost that night. As Goldie rested her head on Anna's lap, Anna whispered softly, "I'm so sorry for everything you've been through, sweet girl. I promise I'll take care of you." The discovery of Goldie's past also sparked a new mission for Anna. She began researching local rescues and shelters, reaching out to see if any of Goldie's puppies might have been found. It was a long shot, she knew, but she couldn't shake the idea of reuniting Goldie with her lost family. In the meantime, she shared the story with Harper. "Your sister is a little hero," Anna told her, scratching behind her ears. "She protected her babies with everything she had, and now she's part of our family." Harper wagged her tail as if understanding every word, leaning closer to Goldie, nudging her gently with her nose. The following weekend, Anna received a call from a shelter in a neighboring town. "We recently took in a young dog who matches the description of one of Goldie's pups," the staff member said. "She's a bit older now, but we think she might be the one." Anna's heart skipped a beat. Could it be? Could this be Goldie's lost pup? Without hesitation, Anna arranged for a visit. When she arrived at the shelter, she was escorted to a small room where a dog with familiar eyes was waiting. The dog, a female with soft golden fur, stood up excitedly, wagging her tail. She was found near a park, not far from where Goldie was discovered, the shelter worker explained. "We believe she may have been living on her own for some time." Anna knelt down, and the dog immediately bounded over, licking her face as though she recognized her. Tears welled up in Anna's eyes as she looked at the dog, knowing in her heart that this was Goldie's lost pup. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Anna witnessed something truly extraordinary. Goldie and Harper were curled up together on the living room floor, their bodies forming a perfect mirror image. Harper gently nudged Goldie with her nose, and for the first time, Goldie playfully swatted her back. It was a simple act, but it filled Anna's heart with a sense of hope and possibility for the future. But even with these moments of progress, Goldie's past still loomed large, casting a shadow over her new life. Thunderstorms, in particular, seemed to trigger a deep, instinctual fear. One evening, as a storm rolled in, Anna found Goldie trembling under the dining table, her eyes wide with terror and her ears pressed flat against her head. "It's okay, Goldie," Anna whispered softly, crouching down to her level. She extended a hand, allowing Goldie to sniff it before gently petting her head. Harper padded over and lay down next to Goldie, resting her chin on her sister's back. Anna's heart swelled as she watched the two dogs. Even in her fear, Goldie was not alone. Harper, her loyal sister, was there to offer comfort and understanding. Determined to help Goldie overcome her fears, Anna explored ways to build her confidence. She began playing soft music during storms and introduced a weighted blanket to help Goldie feel secure. She also contacted Elena, a local trainer who specialized in working with rescue dogs. Elena came over to assess Goldie's progress. "She's made incredible strides already," Elena said, observing Goldie's cautious approach. "The bond she shares with Harper is remarkable. We can use that connection to help her gain more confidence." Together, they devised a training plan centered on positive reinforcement and gradual exposure to Goldie's triggers. Harper, always eager to help, participated in every session, her playful energy encouraging Goldie to take small steps forward. One breakthrough came during a trip to the local park on a sunny afternoon. The park was teeming with families, joggers, and other dogs. Harper, as always, darted ahead, eager to explore, while Goldie lingered close to Anna, hesitant. "Take it slow," Elena advised, as they walked alongside one another. "Let Goldie set the pace." Anna nodded and patiently allowed Goldie all the time she needed. Slowly, Goldie began to relax. She sniffed the grass, watched the other dogs from a distance, and even wagged her tail when a friendly Labrador trotted by. By the end of the visit, Goldie was trotting confidently alongside Harper, her ears perked up and her body language calm. Anna's heart swelled with pride as she saw the change. That evening, as Anna reflected on the day, she felt a sense of satisfaction. Goldie was still on a journey of healing, but she was no longer the fearful stray who had arrived at their door. She had become a beloved member of the family, and together, they were creating a life built on trust and love. As Anna prepared for bed that night, she noticed Harper and Goldie curled up on the couch once again, their breathing in perfect sync. It was a quiet, beautiful moment that filled Anna's heart with gratitude, a reminder of the power of love and family in all its forms. But just as Goldie was adjusting to her new life, Anna began noticing subtle signs that hinted at the depth of Goldie's past trauma. One particular morning, while walking Goldie and Harper along a quiet neighborhood trail, a jogger wearing a bright orange jacket passed by. Goldie froze, her body stiffening, and let out a low, growling bark. It was the first time Anna had seen this side of her dog. "Easy, Goldie," Anna said gently, kneeling beside her. She stroked Goldie's fur, trying to calm her, but the dog's gaze remained fixed on the jogger until he was out of sight. That afternoon, Anna shared the experience with Elena. "It was so unlike her," Anna explained, still unsettled. "She's usually so calm, but something about that jogger, maybe the bright jacket, set her off." Elena nodded thoughtfully. Rescue dogs often have triggers tied to their past experiences. The color, the motion, or even the scent of someone might remind them of something negative. It's important to identify these triggers and gradually desensitize them. Anna's heart ached for Goldie. The idea that something from her past could still haunt her was heartbreaking, but it also strengthened Anna's resolve to help her. She would do whatever it took to help Goldie feel safe and loved. Meanwhile, Harper had her own adjustment to make. As much as she adored her new sister, Anna noticed moments of jealousy creeping in. When Anna gave Goldie extra attention during training or comforted her during storms, Harper would nudge in between them, demanding her own share of affection. Anna knew she had to ensure both dogs felt equally loved. She began dedicating special time to Harper, taking her on solo walks and engaging in their favorite games. Though it was a delicate balance, Anna was determined to keep harmony within her pack. One evening, as Anna sat on the couch with Harper on one side and Goldie on the other, she received an unexpected phone call. It was from Lisa, a volunteer at the shelter where Goldie had been found. "I just wanted to check in and see how Goldie is doing," Lisa said warmly. "She's such a special dog, and we were all rooting for her to find a good home." Anna smiled, feeling a wave of gratitude. "She's doing great. It's been an adjustment, but she's made so much progress. I can't imagine life without her." "That's wonderful to hear," Lisa replied. "Goldie's story touched all of us at the shelter. Did you know she was found near an abandoned construction site, protecting a litter of puppies?" Anna's breath caught. "Puppies?" she repeated, her mind racing. "Yes," Lisa confirmed. "Unfortunately, when Goldie was brought in, the puppies were nowhere to be found. It's possible they were taken, or they wandered off before we could get there. Goldie was so protective. She clearly loved those puppies." The revelation sent a shock wave through Anna. Goldie's anxious behavior, her protective instincts, and her cautious nature suddenly made so much more sense. The thought of Goldie losing her pups filled Anna with sorrow, but it also strengthened her resolve to help Goldie heal from that loss. As Goldie rested her head on Anna's lap, Anna whispered softly, "I'm so sorry for everything you've been through, sweet girl. I promise I'll take care of you." This new understanding of Goldie's past fueled Anna's desire to reunite her with her lost family. She began researching local shelters and rescues, hoping to find any leads on Goldie's puppies. It seemed like a long shot, but she couldn't shake the idea of helping Goldie reconnect with her lost children. The following weekend, Anna received a call from a shelter in a neighboring town. "We recently took in a young dog who matches the description of one of Goldie's pups," the shelter worker explained. "She's a bit older now, but we believe she might be the one." Anna's heart raced. Could it be? Could this be one of Goldie's puppies? Without hesitation, Anna arranged a visit. When she arrived at the shelter, she was led to a small room where a dog with familiar eyes was waiting. The dog, a female with soft golden fur, stood up excitedly, wagging her tail. "She was found near a park not far from where Goldie was discovered," the shelter worker explained. "We think she might have been living on her own for some time." Anna knelt down, and the dog immediately bounded over, licking her face as though she recognized her. Tears filled Anna's eyes as she gazed into the dog's eyes, knowing in her heart that this was Goldie's long-lost pup. One evening, as Anna sat surrounded by her dogs in the cozy living room, she reflected on how much had changed since Goldie first entered her life. The timid, malnourished dog who had once cowered in fear had now blossomed into a confident, loving leader of the pack. Each dog had its own unique personality and story, but together, they had created a family founded on love, trust, and resilience. Goldie, stretched out on the couch beside Anna, let out a deep, contented sigh. Luna was curled up at her feet, while Shadow and Harper dozed by the crackling fireplace. Daisy, as playful as ever, lay on her back, her paws fluttering in the air as she dreamed. Anna ran her fingers through Goldie's soft fur, her heart swelling with gratitude. "You've come so far, haven't you, girl?" she whispered, her voice barely above a murmur. Goldie turned her head, locking eyes with Anna. Her amber gaze seemed to speak volumes, a silent acknowledgement that they had traveled this journey together. As the fire crackled and the room filled with the soft, rhythmic sounds of sleeping dogs, Anna felt a deep sense of peace wash over her. The journey with Goldie and her pack wasn't just about rescuing animals, it was about building a family and finding joy in the most unexpected places. But despite the joy of Goldie's growing pack and the heartwarming reunions, Anna couldn't shake a lingering sense of unfinished business. The metal tag from Everbright Kennels haunted her thoughts. She knew that uncovering the full story behind Goldie's past was essential, not just for her peace of mind, but to expose the systemic neglect tied to the breeding operation. One evening, while scrolling through her phone, Anna came across a news article detailing investigations into illegal breeding facilities. Her pulse quickened as she saw Everbright Kennels mentioned. The report outlined years of alleged mistreatment, fraudulent records, and abandoned dogs, many of which seemed to match Goldie's condition when Anna first found her. Anna immediately reached out to Lisa, asking if she could connect her with anyone involved in the investigation. Within days, Anna was on a Zoom call with Mark, a reporter who had been following the Everbright case for months. Goldie's case could be the key to unraveling this entire operation, Mark explained, his voice steady but tinged with urgency. If we can prove her connection to Everbright and find others like her, we could shut them down for good. Anna's determination burned in her chest. "What can I do to help?" she asked, her voice firm. Mark hesitated before responding. "We'll need evidence, documents, witnesses, or former employees willing to testify. Have you noticed anything unusual or suspicious connected to Goldie?" Anna thought for a moment before mentioning the other dogs she had found through Lisa. "Some of them might still have microchips from Everbright," she said. "Could that help?" Mark's eyes lit up. "Absolutely. If we can trace those microchips back to Everbright, it would be a game changer." With renewed purpose, Anna began working closely with Lisa and other foster families to gather information about dogs rescued from the area. She also scheduled a vet appointment to check for microchips in Goldie, Luna, and Shadow, hoping their histories would provide crucial evidence. The vet visit was a mix of hope and frustration. Goldie's microchip was still intact, but the records linked to it were incomplete, likely tampered with during the breeding operation. Luna's chip was unregistered, while Shadow's had a faint lead, an outdated contact number for Everbright Kennels. Anna passed the findings along to Mark, who promised to investigate further. But as the investigation progressed, Anna found herself facing a difficult decision. Should she allow her dogs to be part of the legal proceedings, exposing them to potential stress and media attention? Or should she shield them from the chaos, knowing that doing so might hinder the investigation? One evening, as Anna sat on the porch watching the dogs play in the yard, she confided in Carol, her close friend and neighbor. "I just want what's best for them," Anna said, her voice heavy with concern. "They've already been through so much. What if this brings back bad memories for them?" Carol placed a reassuring hand on Anna's shoulder, her voice calm and thoughtful. "You've given them a safe, loving home." She paused before continuing. "Anna, whatever decision you make, they'll trust you. But think about the other dogs still out there. What if your actions could save them?" Anna nodded, her heart torn. Carol's words struck a chord. This wasn't just about Goldie, Luna, or Shadow. It was about every animal still trapped in the same cruel system they had escaped. The turning point came when Mark called with a startling update. "Anna, we found a former employee of Everbright willing to speak out," he said, his tone both urgent and hopeful. "But they need to remain anonymous for safety reasons." They mentioned Goldie specifically, describing her as one of the strongest and most resilient dogs they'd ever seen. Anna's breath caught in her throat. "What did they say about her?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly. "They called her the Guardian. They said she protected the younger pups, even when she was injured," Mark explained. "It sounds like She saved lives. Tears filled Anna's eyes as she glanced at Goldie, who was sitting at the top of the porch steps, her amber eyes scanning the yard like the true guardian she was. "What do you need from me?" Anna asked, her voice steady despite the emotions welling inside her. Mark outlined the next steps, gathering video footage of the dogs, documenting their recovery journeys, and submitting statements about their behavior and health. He also encouraged Anna to prepare for potential interviews, as her story could amplify the case against Everbright. Anna spent the next week compiling everything she could. She filmed Goldie and her pack as they enjoyed their new lives, highlighting their transformation from neglected rescues to thriving family members. She also worked closely with Lisa and Teresa, gathering similar stories from other foster families. The investigation began to gain momentum, with Mark's reports drawing public attention. Animal welfare organizations rallied behind the cause, demanding justice for the dogs who had suffered under Everbright's negligence. Donations flooded in, allowing shelters to expand their operations and rescue more animals from dangerous situations. Despite the progress, Anna couldn't ignore the growing unease in her home. Goldie, ever perceptive, seemed to sense the weight of the situation. She stayed close to Anna, her gentle presence a constant source of comfort. Meanwhile, Luna and Shadow, usually playful and energetic, exhibited subtle signs of unease, their once bounding energy now more subdued. Anna knew she needed to reassure her pack. One evening, as they all gathered in the living room, she spoke softly, her voice carrying a mixture of love and determination. "I know things have been a little different lately," she said, her hand resting gently on Goldie's fur. "But I promise everything I'm doing is to help you, and others like you." Goldie nuzzled Anna's hand, her warm eyes full of understanding. It was a small but powerful reminder that their bond was unbreakable, no matter the challenges ahead. As public pressure on Everbright continued to mount, Anna received an invitation to appear on a local news segment to share Goldie's story. It was a daunting prospect, but Anna knew it was an opportunity she couldn't pass up. She rehearsed her words carefully, determined to convey the urgency of the situation while honoring the resilience of her beloved dogs. The day of the interview arrived, and a mixture of anticipation and anxiety filled the air. Anna woke up early, her heart pounding as she mentally prepared for the moment ahead. Goldie lay curled up beside the bed, sensing the weight of the day. Anna reached down to stroke her, finding solace in her loyal companion. "We've got this, girl," she whispered, and Goldie wagged her tail in quiet reassurance. By late morning, Anna was dressed and ready. Her nerves barely contained, she wore her best business attire, a rare choice, and made sure her notes were neatly packed. Goldie stood by the door, alert and watchful, as if knowing that she, too, was part of this mission. Anna had called the shelter earlier, confirming the presence of the officer who had mistreated Goldie. They had agreed to let her share her story during a staff meeting, a rare opportunity to confront the situation head-on. As Anna arrived at the shelter, Goldie trotted beside her, her leash loose but her posture alert. The staff greeted Anna warmly, but there was an undeniable tension in the air. Some glanced at Goldie with expressions of guilt, others with curiosity. At the back of the room, the officer sat rigidly, his eyes fixed on Goldie. Anna began her presentation by introducing herself and Goldie. She recounted the story of how she had found Goldie, her transformation from a fearful stray to a confident companion, and how the shelter's negligence had contributed to the dog's suffering. As she spoke, her voice grew stronger, charged with the emotion that had been building up inside her for so long. "I want to make one thing clear," Anna said, her gaze sweeping across the room. "This isn't about blame, it's about accountability. Dogs like Goldie rely on us to be their advocates, their protectors. When we fail them, they pay the price. Goldie sat calmly at Anna's feet, her presence grounded and steady. Her unwavering calmness lent power to Anna's words, and some staff members shifted in their seats, some nodding in agreement, others avoiding eye contact. Finally, Anna turned her attention to the officer, who sat motionless, his jaw clenched tightly. "I'd like to hear from you," Anna said, her voice measured but firm. "Why did you spray her that day? What were you thinking?" The room fell into a heavy silence. All eyes turned to the officer, whose face flushed under the scrutiny. He cleared his throat, his voice unsteady as he spoke. I thought she was a threat," he admitted, glancing at Goldie. "She was growling, and I panicked. I didn't think. I just reacted." Anna nodded slowly, her expression unreadable. "And do you see her as a threat now?" The officer's gaze dropped to the floor. "No, I was wrong. I see that now." Anna took a steadying breath, trying to keep her emotions in check. "We all make mistakes, but what matters is how we learn from them. Goldie isn't just a dog. She's a testament to resilience and forgiveness. But it's up to us to create a system that doesn't rely on their ability to forgive us." The officer's eyes flickered downward, his hands clasped tightly in his lap. "I want to make it right," he said softly. "I don't know how, but I want to." Anna softened at the sincerity in his voice. "You can start by joining me. Let's work together to ensure this never happens again. Goldie's story can be a turning point, not just for her, but for every dog that comes through these doors." The room hummed with quiet murmurs, and staff members exchanged uncertain glances. Some nodded in agreement, others remained silent. The officer, looking hesitant at first, finally met Anna's gaze. "Okay," he said, his voice steady but tentative. "I'm in." Anna felt a wave of relief wash over her. She glanced down at Goldie, who wagged her tail as if sensing the shift in the air. "This is only the beginning," Anna said, her voice firm as she addressed the room. "Goldie's story isn't just about what happened. It's about what we choose to do next." As the meeting concluded, Anna felt a sense of hope bloom in her chest. The shelter's director approached her, offering thanks for her courage and inviting her to lead a series of workshops for the staff. The officer lingered, asking if he could spend time with Goldie to understand her better. Anna agreed, watching as Goldie cautiously sniffed his outstretched hand before offering a tentative lick. Outside the shelter, Anna knelt beside Goldie, wrapping her arms around her loyal companion. "You did it, girl," she whispered, her voice breaking with emotion. "You changed hearts today." Goldie licked Anna's cheek, her tail wagging steadily in a rhythm of joy. Together, they walked back to the car, the weight of the past lifting in the face of a promising future. As Anna drove home, the events of the day replayed in her mind. The emotions were still raw, but there was an undeniable sense of accomplishment. Goldie lay quietly in the back seat, her head resting on her paws, as though she too understood the significance of what had just transpired. The confrontation had marked a turning point, but Anna knew it was only the beginning. Change, she understood, never came overnight. It required persistence, patience, and a willingness to keep fighting. But for Goldie, this day marked a moment of justice, a recognition of her suffering and her strength. Anna glanced in the rearview mirror, meeting Goldie's warm, trusting gaze. "You're incredible, you know that?" she murmured, her voice thick with emotion. Goldie wagged her tail gently, responding with a soft, steady gaze. A bond forged in shared experience, stronger than ever. That evening, as Anna and Goldie sat on the porch, watching the sun dip below the horizon. A sense of peace settled over them. The quiet hum of the crickets filled the air, a soothing contrast to the whirlwind of thoughts swirling in Anna's mind. Her phone buzzed, breaking the silence. Anna picked it up and saw a message from the shelter director. "Thank you again for today. Your words left a mark on all of us. Let's schedule the first workshop next week." A smile tugged at Anna's lips, the message a small but meaningful victory. She set the phone down, her attention turning back to Goldie. "Looks like we'll be busy, girl. You're going to help us teach people how amazing dogs like you can be." Goldie's ears perked up, and she leaned into Anna's side, content and trusting. The moment's peace was interrupted by the sound of gravel crunching in the driveway. Anna looked up to see the officer from the shelter stepping out of his car, a small box in his hands. Anna stood, her heart pounding in her chest. Goldie, sensing the shift in atmosphere, stayed by Anna's side but remained silent. The officer approached slowly, his expression contrite. "I hope I'm not intruding," he began, his voice unsure. I wanted to apologize properly." Anna crossed her arms, her gaze steady. "You already did that today. What's this about?" The officer hesitated, then held out the box. "It's something for Goldie. I thought it might be a small step toward making amends." Anna took the box, her fingers trembling slightly as she opened it to reveal a custom leather collar with Goldie's name embossed in gold lettering. Her breath caught as she ran her fingers over the intricate craftsmanship. "It's beautiful," Anna said softly, looking at the officer. "But it's going to take more than this to make things right." "I know," he said earnestly. "That's why I'm here. I want to help with the workshops. I've been thinking about what you said today, and you're right. We need to do better. I need to do better." Anna studied him for a long moment, weighing his words carefully. Finally, she nodded. "If you're serious about this, I'll hold you to it. But it's going to take more than just showing up. You need to truly listen and learn." The officer nodded, his expression sincere. "I will. And thank you for giving me the chance." Anna extended her hand, and he shook it firmly. Goldie stepped forward, sniffing his boots with cautious curiosity. The officer knelt slowly, extending his hand to Goldie. She hesitated, then gave a tentative sniff before gently licking his fingers. To Anna's surprise, Goldie licked the officer's hand, her tail wagging cautiously. "She forgives you," Anna said, her voice thick with emotion. "But don't take that lightly." "I won't," he promised, standing and giving Goldie one last look before turning toward his car. "Thank you again for everything." As his car disappeared down the driveway, Anna turned to Goldie, fastening the new collar around her neck. "It suits you," she said, admiring how the gold lettering caught the fading light. "You deserve this, and so much more." Later that night, as Anna lay in bed, her thoughts drifted back to the journey she and Goldie had taken together. From the terrified stray huddled on her porch to the confident companion who had inspired real change, Goldie had become a symbol of resilience and hope. Their story wasn't just about survival, it was about transformation, forgiveness, and the enduring bond between humans and animals. Anna reached out, gently stroking Goldie, who was curled up at her feet, her breathing soft and steady. "We're going to make a difference, Goldie," she whispered. "Together, we're going to change the way people see dogs like you." Goldie shifted in her sleep, letting out a soft sigh. For the first time in what felt like forever, Anna felt a profound sense of peace. Their fight wasn't over, but they were no longer alone. With each step forward, they were paving the way for a better future, not just for Goldie, but for every dog in need of a second chance. The days that followed marked the beginning of a new chapter for Anna and Goldie. Word of Goldie's story spread quickly, drawing attention from local news outlets and animal advocacy groups. Anna found herself overwhelmed with messages of support, volunteers eager to help, and donations flooding in to support the workshops she had envisioned. In their quiet town, a ripple effect began to spread. People who had never given much thought to stray dogs started to see them in a new light, not as nuisances, but as creatures deserving of compassion and care. Goldie, with her gentle demeanor and resilience, became the face of this movement, attending events and workshops alongside Anna, who shared their story with passion and authenticity. The workshops were a resounding success, held at community centers, schools, and even the local police station. They attracted people from all walks of life. Anna spoke candidly about her journey with Goldie, showing before and after photos that highlighted the transformative power of love and trust. One evening, as Anna prepared for another workshop, a knock at her door startled her. She opened it to find the officer standing there, a sheepish smile on his face. "I didn't want to interrupt, but I wanted to give you this," he said, handing her a folder. Anna took the folder and flipped through its pages. Her chest swelled with pride as she read the detailed plans, complete with suggestions for community involvement and partnerships with local shelters. "This is incredible," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "Thank you. Thank you for taking this seriously." The officer nodded, his expression earnest. "I have you and Goldie to thank for opening my eyes. I hope this can be a step toward making amends." Anna smiled, shaking his hand. "It's a step in the right direction." The proposal was soon adopted, with officers undergoing training sessions led by Anna and shelter staff. Goldie often accompanied her, demonstrating the rewards of patience and kindness. Slowly but surely, the community began to shift its collective mindset, evolving toward empathy and understanding. One sunny afternoon, Anna and Goldie took a walk through the park, their favorite retreat after busy weeks of workshops and events. As they strolled along the path, Anna noticed families playing, children laughing, and dogs chasing balls, many of them rescues that had found loving homes through their efforts. Goldie trotted happily by Anna's side, her new collar gleaming in the sunlight. Passers-by often stopped to greet her, some even recognizing her from the local news. Goldie, ever gentle and trusting, wagged her tail at each encounter, her soulful eyes conveying gratitude and joy. As they rounded a bend, Anna spotted a familiar figure sitting on a bench. It was the officer, tossing a ball for a sprightly mixed-breed dog. He looked up and waved, motioning for Anna and Goldie to join him. "I adopted her a few weeks ago," he said, gesturing to the dog. "Meet Luna." Goldie approached Luna cautiously, the two dogs sniffing each other before breaking into playful bounds. Anna laughed, watching the dogs dart around the grassy field. "She's perfect," Anna said, turning to the officer. "You've come a long way." "So have you," he replied, his voice sincere. "You and Goldie have made a difference here." Anna nodded, her gaze fixed on the dogs. It's amazing what love and a little faith can do. As the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the park, Anna felt an overwhelming sense of fulfillment. What had started as a single act of kindness had blossomed into a movement that transformed lives, Goldie's, her own, and countless others. Back at home that evening, Anna settled onto the porch swing, Goldie curled up beside her. The air was filled with the soothing sounds of crickets and the occasional hoot of an owl. Anna sipped her tea, reflecting on the journey that had brought them to this moment. "I never could have imagined this," she murmured, scratching Goldie behind the ears. "You've shown me what it means to be brave, to fight for what's right, and to never give up." Goldie wagged her tail in response, her eyes half closed in contentment. In the stillness of the night, Anna felt a profound sense of gratitude for the journey she had shared with Goldie. It wasn't just about saving a dog, it was about saving a part of herself in the process. And with each day that passed, she knew they were making the world a better place, one paw at a time. If you're ready for another heartwarming journey, click on the next video. It's one you don't want to miss.